So now let's take our first look at il genere, gender. So what do I mean by gender in Italian? So like a lot of languages that come from Latin, Italian has two genders, masculine and feminine. So that means that every object in Italian, everything that you can possibly think of, has a gender. It's either masculine or feminine, okay? Maschile or femminile. And these two genders, they have nothing to do with the quality or the characteristics of the object, okay? So you can't necessarily guess the gender of an object based on ideas about biological gender. These are grammatical genders, okay? So they just affect how the word is used. I'll give you some examples. La mela, the apple, and la stanza are feminine, okay? The apple and the room. There is nothing inherently feminine about those two things, but in Italian, they are feminine objects. We know they are feminine because of two things in these examples. The a at the end of the word, so words ending in a in Italian are generally feminine, pretty much all feminine. And the second thing is the definite article the, so that's the la. La is the feminine version. And we're going to look at that in detail in the next lesson, but it's just so you can recognize that la mela is feminine. As a contrast, we have il libro and l'albero, which are masculine, the book and the tree, okay? They are masculine because they end in o. Words ending in o in Italian are masculine, and they have the definite article the as il, l'apostrophe or lo, okay? I'm going to show you these same examples but with the indefinite article una, which is feminine, and un, which is masculine, okay? So this is how we see the differences between genders in Italian. One thing to note, if a noun ends in an e sound, so an e at the end of the word, we do not know whether it is masculine or feminine just from that e. Words ending in e can be either masculine or feminine, okay? So we have to know, we have to guess, or we have to find out based on other information, usually based on the definite or indefinite articles, so the or a in front of the word. We're going to have a look at that in some examples in a second. Before we move on to our exercise, I would just like to stress the importance of gender in Italian. It's not something you can avoid learning about, even if it's a bit confusing to you. Take the time to learn the gender of objects. It's going to make your life a lot easier in the long run, because you will find that as we progress, gender is going to become more and more important. So when you learn words, try labeling the objects in your house, and for each object, make sure you've got the gender there as well as the object. Learn the two together so that they're associated in your mind, okay? And one way of doing this is just to use post-it notes, and you can write, I don't know, il libro on a book, okay? A book that you use every day, so it's on the front of your book. On a post-it note, it'll say il libro, and then you'll put maschile or masculine underneath it. You remember, il libro masculine, okay? Now let's move on to our exercise. So we have some words on the screen. I would like you to have a guess at which gender they might be. Are they masculine or feminine? Pause the recording to write down your answers. And here they come now. La pizza, feminine. This one is quite clear. We have an A at the end of the word, pizza. And we have la, which is a feminine article, feminine the. The pizza, feminine. È chiaro, no? It's clear. Then we have il problema. What's going on here? This one, I'm really sorry, I did trick you a little bit with this one. So this word ends in a, but it's one of the few exceptions in Italian. I just wanted to show you that there are some exceptions, that this word, because it happens to come from Greek, and that's basically all the words ending in a that are masculine in Italian, they come from Greek. And so this is il problema. So even though it's got an a, we know that it's masculine because of il. That's the, but the masculine version of the. So il problema, masculine. Okay, then we have una lezione. Una lezione. Well, we don't know from the E, do we? We know that it's got an E at the end of the word, but that could be masculine or feminine. So we have to look at the word before it. Una, a lesson. And that is feminine. So we know the word is feminine. Similarly with un fiore, well, we don't know whether it's masculine or feminine from the E, but we do know that un is masculine. So un fiore, masculine. And finally, la città is feminine. We know this from the la, and the A with an accent, in general, is also feminine in Italian. Okay, you have the translations on your screen. Don't forget to note down any vocabulary that you haven't yet learnt. And we will then move on to I pronomi soggetto, subject pronouns. So, subject pronouns express the subject of the verb. They express who or what is doing the verb. How that looks in English is things like I eat dinner. The subject pronoun is I. We are laughing. The subject pronoun is we. And we change the subject pronoun to express a different subject of the sentence. For example, we are laughing means we, but if I said they are laughing, it means them. Okay, so it's quite clear what the subject pronoun is for in English. In Italian, there are more subject pronouns than in English. And the other thing to note is that they are not always used with the verb. We'll see what that looks like in a second, but let's learn the subject pronouns first. I'm going to read them out to you. Io, tu, lui, lei, lei, noi, voi, loro, loro. Okay, make sure you're learning your subject pronouns in this order, as that's the order we'll always be putting our verb conjugations in. And let's have a look at what they mean. So io is I. Io. Tu is you, the singular informal version of you. So you would use this to say you to a friend, someone you know well, a family member. Then we have lui, he, or lei, she. And then we have lei. Lei with a capital letter. Now this means you, but the formal version, okay? So to talk to someone you don't know, a teacher, a boss, someone a lot older than you, that's who you would use lei with. Moving on, we have noi, which is we, voi, which is you, the plural informal version. So in Italian, we make a distinction between you, singular, and you, a group of people, plural. Loro is they, and loro with a capital letter is the formal they, which is very infrequently used in Italian. We don't see it very often. So, what you can see from this is that capital letters in Italian indicate formality. Obviously, if you're speaking, you don't hear a capital letter, but if you do see these random capital letters dotted around in texts in Italian, it does indicate a level of formality.